Good morning, all. Good morning from Brazil. Good evening to Japan. Good morning, Jaydeep. We'll be talking about diabetic retinopathy today and pearls and tips for vitreoretinal surgery. How are you, Jaydeep? I don't think I can hear you yet. Is your mic
Oh, I was
connected?
muted. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's
Right,
perfect.
sorry.
So, how is everything? How was Diwali day? And
Yeah, we had a festival called Diwali, so it's a very big festival in India. It was
oh
great.
yeah, how long is that take? The Diwali? It's a
The
festival.
festival is about 4 or 5 days, so it just got over yesterday.
Ah, okay, so it started yesterday.
No, no, it got over yesterday. It started on last Friday.
Oh yeah, I have many friends here in Brazil that live here from India, and
Oh,
some of them are my neighbors. Were my neighbors. They don't live any uh, closer now, but in a different area here in my city. And
right.
I have friends in U.S. from India, but they lived here in Brazil and they live now there. And I also say hello, and I was happy for the day. I was curious to see what uh, is performed. The religious things and the parties and the gatherings. And is it
Yes.
possible to gather people those days because of COVID times?
Actually, it was not allowed by the government. You can have a family gathering, but not in public places.
Ah,
So
okay, not yet in
we
public
we're not
places.
actually supposed to go out in public places, but then it's not so easy to control people. So a lot of people out are out shopping and celebrating, so it's a little difficult to control them. But yeah, we had a little downscaled Diwali this year. Like we didn't really move around that much, but also there's a uh, what do you say, tradition of blowing firecrackers. So
Okay.
this that was not allowed by the government. You can't
Ah,
gather in public places and blast the firecrackers.
so it's
But
not
then
allowed to
do
blast
it.
the firecrackers those days, those years, or at least this year, because of COVID things.
Right, right.
Yeah, but still, it's good to gather people and to celebrate. It's always, good.
It
And
is.
it's important that we look at these and we respect all cultures, and find that very interesting. And I will look it up more on YouTube to get to know more. It's uh, about this. I was in Brasilia yesterday. I see patients here in Goiânia, and I see patients in Brasilia as well, which is our capital, 200 kilometers from here, not very far. And we see, in every location we see different type of patients, and
Right.
I separated that so that we discuss and we share with people, with residents and fellows. Unfortunately, our fellows from our part here, they are
Yeah.
in a campaign for diabetic retinopathy, so everybody is involved into their diabetic retinopathy report because they already saw the patients, they already scheduled the patient, did lasers and eye fundus examination, and so on,
Correct.
and injections and even surgeries. But it's already finished. But today there is a meeting with the residents and fellows to do that the balance thing to see how was it, how many patients, and this is interesting too. And you know that we call here in Brazil, it's an expression. We call here rice and beans. You know, rice and beans, things
Beans. Yeah.
that we eat every day, rice and beans. Our rice and beans here are diabetic retinopathy, retinal detachments, and AMD, macular degeneration. And so interesting to see that we see so many diabetic patients. Diabetic retinopathy is so common. In those days, JD,
Yeah.
people don't respect and then don't follow a very good diet,
Right.
and
Right.
especially type 2 diabetes, you see so much, increasing so much, even though we are in the era of the good food, of the healthy food, and but still you see it raising, and people really uh, cannot control it.
Right.
And I separated some interesting cases on diabetic retinopathy. I'm still preparing a very good case that I did a week ago. And if we compare in the past, when we worked with the 20 gauge system, we had a different way to deal with. Now that we have 20, I mean the past 20 gauge, now that we have 23, 25, 27, so things are that much better. You know, the surgeries are so better. And
Much.
also the cutters, the
Yeah.
materials are so much better that some things that we used in the past I don't use anymore. I use better stuff. I like using the cutters from today, and the
Correct.
cutters they uh, they could do like a scissor does. They do like pulling on the retina without
Correct.
much tractions. And
True.
what do you like to use most? Do you prefer 23 or 25?
Well, I prefer 25 for all my diabetic cases. I have not done much of 27 gauge, uh, but 25 gauge is my preferred one. I don't use 23 gauge because 23 gauge is still a little bigger for you know the diabetic, which unless it's a very bad combined retinal detachment, very bad thick proliferations, then maybe 23 gauge. Otherwise, 25 gauge is a very wonderful system for diabetic vitrectomies.
Yeah, most of my cases I'm doing 23, but
23.
25 is it's cool, but things look a little more elastic. You know, you have to be. Yeah, it's not difficult to get used to that. You got to be doing the cases, and you got to be more careful. But especially for those tough membranes, and I
Yeah.
separated some to show you. We could go over two videos that I separate, and I think that for 23, especially on those cases that we have very tough membranes, 23 would work a little better because you have a little less resistance. Uh, on the opposite side, you got to be very careful not to go too strong on the membranes. But
Mm.
even 25 could be more delicate. But if you have a more and more proliferative cases and the more detached retinas and more fibrovascular membranes. I think you could be a little stronger on these proliferations and membranes and epiretinal
Yeah.
tissues, and so that's why. But I think the good system is the one you are used to,
Yeah, I think
and
what you are used to, like I started off using the 25 gauge for my diabetics from the beginning, so that is what I got used to.
mm-hmm,
So, and the only advantage of 25 is the cutter port is closer to the tip, and it is smaller. You can easily pick the membranes with the cutter, and you can do everything with the cutter. You don't need much of scissors or forceps with the 25 gauge, and it's more controlled. Rather, like the suction is not so severe. Like there is a risk of causing breaks. I feel a little more with 23 gauge in my hands, so that's why I prefer.
yeah,
I can go very close to the retina, the surface of the retina, and with the cutter and peel the membranes, segment them, and that's what I feel more comfortable. But the 25 gauge only disadvantage is it is little the not so strong. The shaft of the cutter, they tend to bend.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if
that's
you have really thick membranes or you have to go too much in the periphery, then the instruments might bend. Although the Alcon cutters are quite good with the 25 plus system, they have a little thick thickness around the base of the cutter tip, the cutter, what you say, the shaft. So that
mm-hmm.
helps to reduce the bending of the cutter. But otherwise, 23 gauge is definitely has a advantage in the sense if you have very tough membranes and retinal detachment, then 23 works better.
Yeah, another thing is that I want to add is that I like doing the 23, but if I started with the 25, that would be okay. And you have to know how to bend the eye. Some people operate just straight like that. The eye keeps still, and they only move the hands. But I think the secret is that you bend the instruments and the eye goes together with the instruments. Like I'm here holding my head, I'm here with the uh, cutter and illumination pipe. If I go that way, I still tend to bend to the positions. So I
True.
follow the instruments and I move the eye. The whole thing is that you gotta move the eye to reach determined position inside the eye. So you don't need and don't have to you just stay still all the time without moving, just moving your hands and the eye there still. If you have like 25 or 27, they tend to bend, as you said, a little more. You
Correct.
should move
Correct.
the eye as well. If you move, you follow
Yes.
wherever you want to be, and it's a thing to get used to. And uh, I'll share with you the surgery.
Sure.
I'm actually preparing this surgery, so I will show you this just introduction. I did not put the sound yet, not even the title, because I'm still preparing it just to show you how I would deal with these membranes. And I have here a severe tractional retinal detachment case. And you see, we start the case doing the vitrectomy. You don't even see the macula. Can you see how much traction?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the posterior pole. You see
Trying to the posterior pole.
like it should go. It feels a little bit. The program is a little heavy. As you see here, I'm doing vitrectomy. I'm cutting on the vitreous adherences at the macular area. I'm trying to create a path. As you see here, and you look at the posterior pole, you see these traction thing. You don't see anything else. You don't even see the optic nerve. You see a fibrous tissue, very adherent,
Yeah, yeah,
and did you see the cutter going on there?
yeah.
So this is on purpose that we stop here and there and uh, going by parts. And as you can see here, I'm still trying to separate the vitreous adherences and
The Dr.
attachments.
Hudson, the video is not playing smoothly. I think it's hanging in between.
Yeah, because this is the source, the program. So I'm
Okay,
going to parts as if I'm showing you the slides, you know. As you
right, right.
see here, it's I'm moving to certain parts. As you see here, you see how much traction on the eye. You see the epiretinal fibrous tissue. You see the retina detached all over here.
Right.
And so let me try to undock this. When I undock, it's easy that I stretch it a little bit and you see a little larger. And I'm working on the, see now a little better, no? It got a little larger.
Yeah,
And still, the image is a little hazy due to the opacities, vitreous hemorrhage. Now it's getting a little better. And let me advance to the other part here that I want to show you. This is it's on purpose. It's a freezing video that we show you here the cutter. You see, uh, the thing is, I have the cutter on the retina. Do you see the port of the cutter? If you
yeah,
look at the port, and I'll enlarge it a little bit, you see the port, and today it's good that you can do that. I can pull on the fibrous tissue very gently, and pull it uh, against the retina as to separate it without causing much traction. You see the fibrous tissue? It's not possible to insert perfluorocarbon liquid or to do anything else if you don't separate these tractions and this epiretinal tissue that is attached there. Can you see this?
yeah, yeah,
And I will try to move it a little bit. So this is on purpose because this is on the program. You see that? What I'm gonna
yeah.
show is interesting tip. When I'm trying to remove the fibrous tissue, I use my feet. If I stay, yeah, if I put the feet, press it on and push the pedal, and then it's gonna cut without stopping. Do you agree with that? But if I cut, I go back and forth. It's like if you think or of a phacoemulsification surgery, you go step one, two, and three, and then you just go three and zero, three, zero. So you go all the way, and then you stop. As you see, with the cutter, you can pull on the retina, and also you can separate the fibrous tissues. Can you see this technique? I am with the port open for
Yeah.
myself.
Like,
I'm looking at the port, and
correct.
you see the first membrane is already separated there. And because if I put the port towards the retina surface, it's going to cut the fibrous tissue, but also could cut the retina. So I'm grabbing here the membrane. As you see, I'm grabbing the membrane,
Correct.
I'm doing some movements back and forth, but horizontally. I'm not pulling on the retina vertically, otherwise I could cause the uh, the tear, a break. But you still, let me get Ishwara in, and it's still, you see here, JDeep.
Yes, yes.
Let me just let me just do something here. Put Ishwara as a co-host. Hi, Ashwara. How are you?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I'm actually not keeping well today, so I was on leave.
No problem, no problem.
What happened?
Our
You
residents, I was
planned for
telling
here?
Jaydeep,
Hi,
our
hi, sir.
residents
What
and
happened?
fellows.
Nothing actually. Past 3 days, there was a lot. I was traveling a lot, so suddenly today I'm just down with stomach upset, food poisoning. So
Yeah, you are very busy now,
yeah, no, it
but
was
no, it's
Diwali
not.
3 days actually here in India, and I was doing the rounds of all my cousins' houses and relatives' houses. So that was going on over the last 3 days continuously. Every meal we have been going to somebody's house or the other to eat food. So it has all taken a toll on me.
This is good. I would like to be there, because I was telling Jaydeep, uh, it's I don't know whether I could say it's a holiday time, but
Yeah, it
it's
is.
good to
It is
be
a
here
holiday of
and
sorts.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the Christmas holidays over here. We have Diwali holidays.
All right. And I was telling Jaydeep, this is a case of diabetic retinopathy proliferative. And
Yes, sir.
as you see here, the cutter is pulling the fibrous tissue away. So first, I was telling him we gotta use the pedal to apply force to vacuum to grab the retina and the epiretinal tissue, and I was comparing this action as doing phacoemulsification. When you have the phacoemulsification and you have the step 0, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, and
Right,
then
right. Yes, sir.
you go step 1 and then you go back and forth. Here it's from 0 to 3. I grab with the without cutting yet. So 0 to 2, I grab the tissue, the epiretinal tissue, and I pull on the epiretinal tissue. And then after I have it separated and grabbed, and then I could go to step 3, and then to cut on the tissue. As you see here, can you see my arrow? Can you see here this? As you see here, this part of the retina is very thin, and it's gonna break with my pulling, even though I'm applying gentle pulling. And as you see here, I'm approaching a little more, and you see everything is all attached in this fibrous tissue. How to get away with that? So I'm pulling on the epiretinal tissue. You see here the strands of the fibrous tissue, they are separating. As you see here, they're starting to separate. And after I got them separated, did you see this? I use the cutter and very fast. It goes from 0 to 3, and I open this and release the epiretinal traction. See, I release the epiretinal traction, and then I go on and then lifting more epiretinal tissue. You see here, this epiretinal tissue is very adherent. Here, pulling on the retina, you have here and there. And I gotta get rid of these tissues. So they are in the macular surface. Fortunately, not on the foveal area. And so, can you see this now? JD, can you see this?
Yes,
And
yes, I can see it.
this is very interesting because if I apply very strong force over here, I could break everything. And still here, you see on the right, can you see on the right side, my arrow here?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is a
yeah.
small break on the retinal area.
Small. Correct,
There's a
correct.
small break here, see? And
Yes, yes, I can see it.
this break is going to be enlarged due to these actions.
If
But
you pull it, yeah.
yeah, but this break is going to be there enlarged, but in a safe place because it's not involving the vessel, as you're going to see it.
True, true, true.
These are some intrinsic details that I want to show. And I see here I'm still pulling on very gentle and in the horizontal directions to get away and free up this membrane. See, the membrane is coming inside. It's coming inside the port. The way I'm doing that, take a look. I'm moving my pedal from 1 to 3 very fast, and then from 3 to 0. So I cut on the upper retinal tissue, and then I go back to number 1 and 2, mostly to aspirate, to grab the fibrous tissue and then not let it escape from the port, as you see here. So I'm opening and closing. That's the action. I'm opening and closing the tip. I think Aishwara is back there again. Okay, she's there. And the detail here is that, hi Aishwara, you are back. And by pulling on this aponetin tissue and opening and closing the tip, I'm freeing up the aponetin tissue. See, now I'm separating the whole thing. I'm separating. And now, as I said, I'm using some counter force. I'm using the illumination pipe to help me complete the action. And now I have the tissue over there, still hanging there, and you see this whole tissue on the macula. So I will leave it that for a while. Now I'm using these forceps in an attempt to separate it. This is very interesting image. Can you see this? I'm with the forceps inside the vessel over here. You see the vessel?
Yes, sir.
So very gently, without breaking that vessel, and very slowly, I will pull on the retinal tissue that way. And so when I do that, you see all the vessels is straightened. See there? The vessels, they got very straightened. So that's the time to be very slow. I mean, I'm using the illumination pipe to separate the tissues. Take a look. The illumination pipe in very gentle movements, I'm separating the tissues. See there how it looks better now? They are separating. Now I have more tissue separated. See the vessels here? The retinal tissue is already separated from the retina.
Yeah, yeah.
So very slow, still very slow. Now that's the action I
Correct.
was using still the illumination pipe and the forceps. And the good thing is now to be a little closer to what I'm doing, I use this macular lens. And you see, everything now seems to be separated, but still attached to the retinal surface. And then you see here the part of the cutter. I'm going to use the part of the cutter to get rid of this retinal tissue. But the detail
Right.
is that I'll open and close, open and close. I cannot keep only the foot, the pedal on in number 3 to cut and aspirate everything. So everything would come towards the cutter, and then a mess will be made. And so the detail here is that with the cutter facing the tissue there, as you see, open, close, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, grabbing and cutting, 3, 1. I'm removing the retinal tissue. See there? Now I'm trimming
Yeah.
this tissue. If you see these, and you're gonna take a look at these in shortly in 1 or 2 minutes, you're gonna see the difference that it made. So, like doing this step, uh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and opening and closing, and I don't damage the retina, even though I could do that if I kept the foot pressed on the pedal.
Yeah.
So I'm moving very slow now. See, the retina is getting more mobile now, more mobile. And I'm taking care of the vitreous adhesions over here. So you see you see the macula already. Now I'm separating this from the periphery. See, I grab the retina, but it's 1, 2, 3. I grab it and I pull on the retina, and then I go 3 and cut on the vitreous adhesions without damaging the retina below. I'm just
Right.
towards and below the fibrous tissue. It's interesting. Now you see the whole thing. You see the retina above detached, the macula detached, but it's getting free. Now I'll use the still the macula lens to go over this area again, and you see everything looks more released. So what should I do now? What's the next step? Since things are now mobile,
This looks like a combined retinal detachment.
yes, yes. Now I'm
Already
using,
regmatogenous component.
yes, yes. I'm using the perfluorocarbon liquid, and interestingly, that I have everything flattened out. You see how beautiful, how better the macula looks now? Even though you have these fibrous tissues over here are intrinsic to the retina. These are intraretinal fibrous tissues, but the epiretinal tissue here, you see, and here, they are all taken out of the retinal surface. So now you see the macula. You could not see the macula so far. Now you can see the macula. So I'm using not very much perfluorocarbon liquid. You see here, I put the perfluorocarbon liquid on the macular surface, but still have the retina in the periphery detached. I'll take a look at the retina periphery to see if there are more tractions. This is a very interesting case because I couldn't even
Yeah.
see the macula. I couldn't even see the macula at the beginning of the case. And I'm
Yeah.
showing this
True.
on detail because I will then I will edit the video, then cut some parts and show the what is it. You see here the lens. The patient has a lens. So
Okay.
even though we are
Phakic
working
patient.
on the retina patient, on the retina of the patient, but the patient is phakic, so I didn't even touch the lens. So all the way, the lens is there, and now I'm doing, this sound is a cautery. I'm doing the peripheral cautery here because at the very retinal periphery, we had this the retinal detachment, and the far periphery, you see everything all with the traction, and so the retina in the middle would flatten, but it wouldn't flatten from the middle out towards the periphery because of the traction. So we did the retinotomy in the very retinal periphery, and I'm doing some cautery here because this cautery will allow me to avoid these bleedings. You see the very retinal periphery here. So I'm using the cautery and relieving the retinal tractions at the far retinal periphery. And now I can finish this and go on with more of a perfluorocarbon action. So I would put more perfluorocarbon here, as you see. And interesting, I want to show you these details here. Take a look. There is inferiorly, the retina is elevated over here. Everything is elevated. So the
Right.
perfluorocarbon liquid above JDIP wouldn't flatten the retina
Yeah.
at the
Correct.
macular area, only at the macular area. But here, the perfluorocarbon liquid wouldn't take an action. So I have to start now a retinotomy, like going very
Okay.
straight,
Okay.
in very to the parallel to the uh, choroid over here, and then not hitting the choroid. And so,
Correct.
as you see here, I'm still using the tip of the cutter, and with the tip of the cutter, now it starts the action. I will go straight, as you see, and you see here the port, and you see here a path below. I'll use this port of the cutter to move it like that, straight, not hitting the choroid, and actually relieving the retinal tractions over here too, because everything here is elevated with the traction. So I'm moving the port, as you see, that way, and I'm going straight to open the retina up to a limit. The limit is here, where the retina is attached,
Right.
from here to the periphery, from this place here, nasal to the far nasal, the retina is attached. So I will relieve these tractions here up to this place.
Right.
Let me go a little further. It gets a little frozen. So did you get what I did? I did
Yeah. Retinotomy.
the retinotomy, and now the retina with the perfluorocarbon is all flattened, and so it's possible to start with the laser, because now I have looks like the program is a little heavy, so the image takes a little while to display, and because the video is not edited yet. But after I use the perfluorocarbon liquid, and then the retina is flattened, I relieved all peripheral
Yeah.
tract, and now I can go on with the laser. As you see here, everything is flattened. You see the macula now. You couldn't see the macula before.
Right.
Now I can do the laser. You see, if the laser takes well, it means that the retina is flattened. As you see, the edges are taking the laser, and then we are attaching the retina. Where I just did now the retinotomy, you see, I'm doing
Yeah.
the laser. It's a barrier laser. And after this barrier laser, I will carry on the pump photocoagulation, because it's a proliferative case diabetic retinopathy. You see how the laser takes well?
You're using continuous laser?
No, no, no. It's my settings are power 500 and
Mm-hmm.
300 duration, and
Okay. Okay.
100 interval, 100 milliseconds interval.
Okay.
So still
Okay.
you have a space in between the lesions, but I
Mm-hmm.
prefer to go to put them in alignment. I put
Yeah.
them as a line,
Contiguous.
so continuous, like very close one to each other, even though it's not continuous, but then creates a line and protects the retina periphery. You see here the perfluorocarbon liquid there. So everything is
Right.
attached. You see the whole thing is attached.
Yeah. Looks good.
Now I carry on with the photocoagulation. And you remember that break from the beginning? The break is off to the superior temporal arcade, as you see there on the right. And I'll be doing the laser around the break at the superior. And detail is that you see the tip of the laser, it bends as well, because you can actually put it inside and move it outside of the shaft. See, I'm doing the laser around that break.
Yeah, correct.
So interesting that everything got flattened. So first I did the protection, I did the retinal peripheral laser. Now I'm carrying, uh, I'm taking care of the break and still doing the laser at the retinal periphery. As you can see here, I'm doing the laser. Let me move a little. It's almost the end. You see a very cool photo coagulation, and you have
Yeah,
the whole view of the retina. You have the view of the
right.
retina. And at the beginning, I wouldn't even guess we could have such a very good image, because you see the macular area here is freed up. Everything is all
Yes,
flattened. See? You had so much
true.
fibrosis and fibrous tissue and adhesions. And I showed you a way to using the cutters we have, using the speed of the cutter and applying the appropriate force to relieve all those tractions and doing cautery as well. And so here you don't have much bleeding anymore. The macula is okay. And the last step now, after the laser, is that I like, in order to avoid any retinal slippage, I like
Mm,
the direct exchange. As I've shown in other cases, I'm setting up here for the direct exchange. You see the lens is pretty clear, so I didn't touch the lens. And I hold the tip of the cannula, the infusion cannula there, with the bulldog, and then I go with the illumination pipe. And now here I have the direct exchange. You see? Silicone oils
that
coming
is
in.
silicon
Yeah, this is
PSL
silicone
silicon
oil.
oil exchange.
Yeah, silicone oil is coming in, and I'm removing the perfluorocarbon liquid. In this way, we don't have a retinal slippage because it's a direct exchange. See the bubble there?
Right. Yeah.
My wife here is laughing because of the noise. You see? At the end of the case, the retina is attached.
You have you have put these special effects, is it?
Yeah, I like using the effects so that things get more.
You're editing the video and you, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's not the actual noise, you know. Would it be?
True.
And and just gotta these things out. Okay. And so this JDIP was a very, very tough case, very tough case.
Yeah,
But
it was very, very tough case.
with whatever we have today, it's possible even on those combined traction and regmatogenous retinal detachments, we can get
Right.
away with them by doing the correct, applying the correct forces in the cutters and lifting the membranes, and all these things work well if you apply the appropriate forces. And the retina is attached. The
True.
thing is, sometimes the patient doesn't see well due to ischemic reasons. you had so much fibrosis and vessels
Correct.
lacking actually at the macular
Yeah.
area, but the retina is attached, and this patient was only light perception. Now he see hand movements, and because we had to scrape
Yeah.
the cornea to see well the retina, probably the cornea is next this week is going to be better, with the epithelium there, and
I
he
understand.
will probably
Yeah.
see, counting fingers. And for this case, I think it's good because uh, it's a very severe case, and retina is detached, and not easy to do. And
True. Very,
would
very
you
difficult case.
do would you do anything different from what we did?
Well, I think this is what I would have also done, except that yeah, I used 25 gauge still.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe for this case, 23 gauge would be a better option.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what one thing we can do is you can start 23 gauge and you can use the 25 gauge cutter, which will go through the 23 gauge port. So in between, you can use both 23 as well as 25 gauge cutter
Yeah.
to
And
do whatever you want to do. Sometimes you can use the 25 if you want to do fine dissection, and 23 for the rest of the case. So
yeah,
that
that
is
would
a good
work
idea. One
perfectly.
thing, sometimes, hello,
That
yeah,
would work perfectly
can you
because
hear me?
the 25, yeah, I hear.
Yeah,
The 25 goes inside the port very well, and that will work okay.
yeah. And if you have valved cannulas, then that can help to prevent the extrusion from the port to maintain the IOP well. You can use the valved cannulas, maintain the
Yeah,
IOP inside, because bleeding
yeah,
is a very common problem in these cases. So you could manage without any bleeding, which was quite good actually. But these are the cases where you can get bleeding can be like a major issue, major problem. So you really need to tackle the bleeders correctly without the letting the blood to get collected on the retinal surface, because this blood is very sticky and very adherent, and once it spreads it's very difficult to remove it, and that can cause more breaks.
yeah,
So you
you're
really
right.
need to control the bleeding. And then, well, I would pretty much do the same things. Some people might do a bimanual surgery, putting a what do you say, chandelier. But if you can do it without it, I think that's better.
Yeah, chandelier would work very good. And also for this
Bimanual surgery, yeah, I have
by
tried it,
manual,
but then
yeah.
yeah, it's very tough cases. You can try bimanual, but yeah, then you need to have there's a little bit of learning curve there. You need to know how to hold the tissues with the forceps and then cut. I actually don't use much of scissors or the forceps. I use the cutter only, just the way you did.
Yeah, I like to use them both. Sometimes to get things away from the retina, you could use both. But I don't operate
Correct.
on diabetic patients without the cautery. The cautery has always to be there. Otherwise, as you said, you could have bleedings that you cannot
True.
uh, deal with without having the cautery on. So it's good thing to have the cautery always, so you avoid those, the massive bleedings, and then also to control the intraocular pressure,
Correct.
increasing the intraocular pressure. And fortunately, this case went very good, but some cases you cannot do much because the fibrous tissue, as I said, the fibrous tissue that ended at the end of the case intraretinally, that cannot be taken out. So this is could be a little tough, and the case
True.
went good.
Yeah. So I
All
think
right.
the key is to plan your surgery, like how you're going to start, from where you're going to start, the peeling, whether you have the right cleavage plane, you need to find that. And then once you find the right cleavage plane, then you can start going under the membranes and dissecting them. So that's probably the key. If there is no PVD, again, that is a little bit of a problem. And then you'll have to induce the PVD from the
Yes.
periphery. In diabetics, you can't do it from the disc like other cases. So again, those are the things. Oh, the son is also interested in watching.
Yes, you are right.
Hello,
Hi, it's Daniel.
his
Daniel
name is
just woke
Daniel,
up
isn't it?
and he wanted to watch the retina lecture as
Okay.
well.
Hello, Daniel. Good morning.
Say hello, Daniel.
My son was here some time back. He too wanted to listen to you, and then he just left now.
That's good.
Every
Okay,
every
Didi.
Tuesday he will come and sit with me. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
I liked our discussion, and
yes, yes,
it's good to see how you do and how we do, and we could share this with the rest as well. And I want to
right.
thank you for your patience.
No, no,
And
not at all, not at all. It is great pleasure to watch your videos and discuss.
yeah, but pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. We are
So
improving our views and systems. And I
right,
think the good thing from this COVID times is that we are experiencing more things to deal with in terms of technology, and things should get better.
true,
So
definitely, definitely.
thank you very
Right.
much, Jaydeep.
So thank you, Dr. Hudson, and you have a great day.
You too, and have good
And we'll catch up.
celebration of this wall and this week. And hope to see
Yeah.
you soon in India. We want to visit India and see you guys there.
Yes, please, please do come. Please, please. It'll be a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Say hello to Natarajan.
Yes, I will. I will. I'll say hello. He vacation. He's,
Okay.
he went for a vacation, short trip. So probably he'll come back tomorrow to work.
Ah, it's good. Vacation is always good. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye, bye. Take care. Bye.